Hello there, Brick Fanatics. Let's not beat around the bush today. There is a rumour that we might be getting How to Train Your Dragon LEGO in 2025, and suddenly that is all I care about for LEGO in 2025. There was a part of me that would have hoped for an additional Zelda set or something really neat from LEGO Star Wars that we might not have seen before, but now, no, do you know what? If we just get How to Train Your Dragon LEGO, I will be very, very happy. That said, you might need to temper your expectations just a little bit, because while the prospect of How to Train Your Dragon LEGO does sound absolutely fantastic, it might not necessarily be the How to Train Your Dragon that you are thinking of. Dreamworks is doing a Disney and making a live-action adaptation of one of their iconic cartoon films. And with that comes the prospect of a version of How to Train Your Dragon that does not necessarily match up entirely with what we have had before on the big screen. And that means that these rumoured LEGO sets might not necessarily be what you're thinking of. Right, let's get this out of the way. Heel, sit, stay, etc. Just a quick disclaimer one more time because I feel like it bears repeating. This is a rumour. There is absolutely no guarantee of How to Train Your Dragon LEGO in 2025. It is just something that is floating around on the internet. We know that there have been existing rumours already that the LEGO Group is going to be working with an IP partner in 2025 that we have not seen either for a while or at all up until this point. And we know that the LEGO Group has a decent relationship with Dreamworks already because they have produced Gabby's Dollhouse LEGO sets. So a collaboration between these two companies is not entirely out of the ordinary, or indeed something that we haven't seen already by this point. As far as Dreamworks collaborations go, I know that LEGO Ideas sets based on Shrek tend to be very popular, and while that I definitely can see the appeal there, I absolutely feel like How to Train Your Dragon is a much better fit for LEGO based on what we've already seen in LEGO up to this point. Brick-built dragons, always a hit, love a brick-built dragon, and Vikings, something that the LEGO Group has just given us such wonderful sets in the past, and there is a current absence of Viking sets on the market. You know, I knew a guy once from Denmark who came and moved and lived in the UK, and the way he would introduce himself to people is, "Hello, I'm from Denmark, yes, the land of the Vikings, don't worry, we're nice now." Vikings are definitely still part of the Danish popular culture and cultural identity, and rightly so. That's entirely fair, because Vikings were pretty darn cool, even if they didn't actually have the horny helmets. The original LEGO Vikings theme ran from 2005 to 2007. It does an absolutely brilliant job of combining all of the best things about LEGO Pirates and LEGO Castle in one theme together, which, as said, pays homage to the actual history of Denmark in a really neat way. The theme officially retired in 2007, but it has cast a very long shadow, and the fan community has never really been willing to let go of it because of just how cool LEGO Vikings are. And so every now and then you get a LEGO set that feels like it really pays homage to what we had from that theme, whether it's a Creator 3-in-1 set, whether it's the brilliant LEGO Ideas Viking Village, whether it's something like the Thor Love and Thunder set, or indeed you'll just get like a Viking helmet in a different LEGO set entirely for the fun of it every now and then. And LEGO fans are always like, yes, more Vikings, gimme, 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 gimme. On the other side of the equation, you've got brick-built dragons, starting all the way back with Castle, I believe. There may be an earlier example, don't quote me on that. And then going through to modern examples like Ninjago. LEGO Elves had some absolutely amazing LEGO dragons. You get so many different types of brick-built dragons. There's so many different ways of exploring the dragon in LEGO form. And I haven't even spoken about the Legoland dragon, which is the iconic mascot of the Legoland parks, which is just always everywhere when you go to one of these parks. It's brilliant to have a brick-built dragon in basically any form. Indeed, while I'm mentioning Legoland, Legoland Windsor, I don't know if this is a presence in other parks, but Legoland Windsor, until very recently, has had a big old LEGO Vikings boat ride that you can go on. I think it's very recently been retired, but it is one that has kind of kept that flame alive for a lot of LEGO fans in the UK for the LEGO Vikings theme, because it's still got a lot of that LEGO Vikings branding. Okay, so LEGO Vikings and LEGO Brick-Built Dragons are definitely things that are on the agenda, things that fans want more of, and How to Train Your Dragon is the absolute perfect opportunity to explore these things in a modern theme. Controversially, I'm not as interested in seeing a for adults How to Train Your Dragon set as I would be in a collection of different sets in a theme that is more aimed at play and at a slightly younger audience. And I know that some people watching this video will say, oh, well, no, I'd rather have something that's more detailed and more expressive and bigger and has more going on. But yeah, no, I would rather have the little fun sets, the minifigure plus a few little bricks to make a Lego Toothless, the little Viking hut, and then some slightly bigger ones as well for those who want to invest in a little bit more money, so that everybody gets the opportunity to explore this and play with this in much the same way that the original Lego Vikings theme would have done all the way back in 2005. Like, there are brands that I think work very well as a one-off or as even like a theme that is aimed more at adults, and there are brands that I think deserve to be accessible to a much wider variety of different age groups and different play styles and people who want to get different things out of Lego. And How to Train Your Dragon is one of those things that I would hope we get the kiddie sets and a bunch of adults like myself are then able to pick them up as well and say, do you know what, yeah, it's a little bit childish, it's maybe not quite as detailed, not quite as fleshed out as some Lego sets could be, but it's still very fun because it's a little Lego Toothless. But in a rare moment here for Lego, there's an opportunity to please basically everybody, because people who want How to Train Your Dragon Lego can get their fix, and then people who just want that classic nostalgic Vikings experience with dragons on the side could also potentially get what they want, and everybody's happy. The challenge is whether or not these sets are going to hew very closely to the animated How to Train Your Dragon films, or if the modern live-action film ends up being tremendously different from that initial interpretation, whether the Lego sets will instead feel like something that's a little bit alien, a little bit different, and therefore not quite what the hardcore animated How to Train Your Dragon fans are looking for. And yes, I know any dragon that appears in the live-action film is also going to be animated, just animated with a different style that's meant to look more photorealistic, but is still a fictional character created by an animation, and therefore not going to be entirely different from what we've had before. It's just, you know, semantics, you get my point. Like, I'm making that point deliberately because it bothers me when people say that the Lion King remake is a live-action remake, because obviously it's not. But there will be live-action people in the live-action How to Train Your Dragon film either way. Now, I'm making the assumption that the live-action film is going to be adapting the How to Train Your Dragon animated film rather than going all the way back to the source material and re-adapting Cressida Cowell's original How to Train Your Dragon book, simply because the animated film is the version of these characters that people are the most familiar with, and a lot of people who were involved with that animated film are now working on the live-action film as well. Most notably, Dean DeBlois, the director of the original How to Train Your Dragon cartoon, is now directing the live-action film as well. So I think we're safe in assuming that a lot of the same aesthetic is going to be carried across, which was not necessarily a certainty, because if we had gone all the way back to the Cressida Cowell book, then we would have had a very different Toothless, because the original design for Toothless is more in line with the terrible terrors that we get in the How to Train Your Dragon animated film. Little, bug-eyed, funny-toothed, rather than the sleek black design of the Night Fury, which was made specifically for the cartoon. It's kind of nice from a filmmaking perspective that the director for the original cartoon and the live-action film are staying the same, because we don't normally get that with the adaptations that Disney has been doing, where normally it's been like 20 to 30 to 40 years since those original cartoons that then get adapted into live action by a completely different production crew, completely different director. The specifics of what that will look like are unknown at this point, and I would suspect the LEGO Group's designers, who are potentially working on any theoretical How to Train Your Dragon LEGO sets that may or may not exist, are probably working from very limited resources in terms of creating these sets, because nothing is out in the public about what this live-action remake is going to look like, and there will be, you know, production stills perhaps, but more likely a lot of pre-production concept art, which is going to be forming the backbone of a lot of these LEGO sets. That's how a lot of LEGO sets that are adapted from films and in the modern era are made, where the LEGO designers don't really have a lot to go on, have maybe the broad outlines and sketches, and then have to make something based on that, whatever it is that they are given. That's why we get things like the Avatar sets, where instead of having Avatar 2 sets on sale at the time that Avatar 2 hit theatres, we instead had Avatar 1 sets, because the designers could just watch Avatar 1 the film as much as they wanted in order to then make LEGO sets based on that film. Some people are going to be a little bit disappointed if their personal favourite character from the cartoons don't translate entirely the same into live action, and so some of these minifigures maybe have slightly different costumes or slightly different designs to them than you might have had if they were based solely on the original cartoons. At the same time, personally, I'm not going to get too hung up over that because I want the broad brush strokes to be the same, and the little details are going to be something that I'm willing to let slide. This is coming from somebody whose family insists that he looks exactly like Hiccup. Like, my family were obsessed with the idea when the first film came out that I was Hiccup, that I looked exactly like him, so you know exactly what kind of teenager I was. Then the second film came out and somehow Hiccup looked even more like me in my 20s. All of that is immaterial though, because there's really only one thing that I want from LEGO How to Train Your Dragon, and you may have different desires. You may be wanting a full Viking village, you may be wanting additional like big giant dragons. I really just want a Hiccup and a Toothless, ideally with some kind of mechanism to control Toothless's tail fin, but just the two of them in some kind of version of that beautiful test flight scene from the original film. Like, that is all I want. I'm willing to forego anything and everything else so long as we get that moment in LEGO form, because it is just peak How to Train Your Dragon in my mind. I mentioned LEGO Elves before. When my daughter was a little bit smaller and was going through a LEGO Elves phase, we had a set called Azari and the Goblin Forest Escape, and it comes with a little Pegasus and then a little sleigh and then Azari on the back, and it's a fabulous little set. And I remember having that with my daughter, and we would put on the test flight music from the original How to Train Your Dragons film, which is just a gorgeous piece of music, and she would fly this set around the house and was just so full of happiness. And essentially what I want is the authentic version of that. I want a little Toothless that I, potentially as a grown adult, or indeed with my kids, will fly around the house with that music blaring, having the full experience of How to Train Your Dragon in LEGO form, with just that brick-built Toothless. I don't need anything else. That would be enough to make me happy. And maybe, as I say, there are things that you would prefer to have. There are things that you would absolutely love from this that would, you know, it's a brilliant opportunity to bring back Vikings in LEGO form and to have a full theme of Vikings rather than just one or two sets here and there. But capturing the magic of that film in LEGO form would be just such a wonderful thing to have. And that's really my big hope for this theme. Fingers crossed that these rumours prove true, and fingers crossed that we get a test flight LEGO set. All else is immaterial. That's all I want. That said, that is just my personal hope for this potential theme. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments and whether or not How to Train Your Dragons is something that you are hoping for from LEGO. Also, make sure that you do all of the rest of the YouTube things. You know them by this point. Hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Doing so genuinely helps out the channel. Otherwise, if you're going to be making any lego.com purchases in the near future, make sure that you use the affiliate link, which is down in the description, or the QR code that is currently on screen, which takes you straight to the LEGO website. If you make a purchase through those links, it just gives us a little bit of the percentage of your sale. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps to keep the lights on at Brick Fanatics, helps to keep us making videos and content on the website. Speaking of which, you can go to the Brick Fanatics website for all kinds of coverage of all things LEGO related, and sign up to our newsletter so that you never miss anything LEGO related ever again. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.